Welcome back to another episode of the Authentic Podcast. I'm Tanner, sitting here with Jared and Kimmy, our comedic relief over here. But welcome, guys. Thank you for joining us. We have a special episode today. I'm excited about this one. It's going to be a little bit different, but it's one I want to really pick Jared's brain on because it's something that he launched this week. And so today we will be discussing all things branding, marketing, what is it like to build a brand for yourself and your business as a realtor, and what it's like even just to market yourself in this environment. And so I want to pick Jared's brain, get some of his answers because he is a genius when it comes to branding and marketing, and that's what his background's in, and it could really, really help a lot of people that listen to this. So Jared, we're going to be diving into you.
That's very nice, thank you.
Of course.
I appreciate that.
Well, we got our Oktoberfest too.
We do. So I had this conversation with somebody the other day because, you know, we were talking, I always do an Oktoberfest party every year.
Yeah.
And I was asked when it was going to be, and I said, well, at the end of September. They're like, why would you not do it in October? Oktoberfest is actually September. Oktoberfest officially ends the first week of October. So the whole entire Oktoberfest takes place in September. That's why beers are out now in August.
What?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
So that's why you see them come out like the last couple weeks of August. Because Oktoberfest is technically in September.
Wow.
Yeah,
I literally had zero clue.
I know, yeah.
Huh, that's good beer too.
So if you wait too long, because you might do an Oktoberfest party in October, they might be
You're actually wrong.
out of the restaurants, or out of the
Liquor stores?
liquor stores. I was going to say clubs.
That too.
The clubs.
You go to the club to have Oktoberfest.
We're going clubbing.
That's
But
funny.
that is awesome. So that's part of, a party for Oktoberfest. That kind of describes, let's go right into it.
Mm-hmm.
Branding, marketing, where you're a genius on all this stuff is you make everyone feel welcome. And so what kind of is, let's just dive in.
Okay.
A cup of tea and your branding. What even do you consider branding when it comes to real estate, and why is branding yourself as yourself in your business even important?
Yeah, well, first you have to differentiate branding and marketing. Because we always say it together, right?
Mm.
But it's actually very, very different. Obviously, branding is creating a positive perception of your company, right? I mean, that's kind of the whole goal of branding.
Right.
You can look at any of the best brands out there, and a lot of people say branding is your voice and marketing is your message.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah. So if you take that into consideration, obviously for most people, when people think branding, they think logos.
Right.
Logos, design, all that kind of stuff, which actually is pretty relevant and pretty important.
Right.
I think there's some studies that say about 87% of consumers want cohesive branding across the board for people that they work with and companies that they work with. So that's a pretty overwhelming stat, which means it's really
87%.
important.
Yeah.
Like the consistency aspect of that
Right.
is really, really important.
Especially if you're growing a team.
Especially if you're growing a team, especially if you're doing anything that people are watching.
Right.
Because it can get confusing for customers and
100%.
consumers. I think a lot of people don't necessarily put a lot of stock into branding when it becomes real estate. You know, we all go on Etsy and buy a $4 logo template and then we say, oh, our branding's done. I mean, that's just a small piece of the puzzle.
That is huge.
Yeah.
I love that you said the difference between branding and marketing too. And you taught us all about branding ourselves. You rebranded we call ourselves the Garver Group, a team of us, and we rebranded everything because we wanted to be something special across from just our company name of Fairway. We wanted to be something different, and now it's everywhere. And you can see that cohesiveness. We have just got a text today from someone with that wanted a t-shirt because they saw someone in the store wearing the Garver Group name of the t-shirt.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Which would never say if they saw Fairway Mortgage.
Right.
So that branding is super, super important. And so what can you do as a realtor to start differentiating, I can't say the word. Someone say it for me.
Differentiating.
Yeah, that word. Yourself from everyone else.
Being different. Just say being different.
Thanks, Kim.
Then being different from everybody else.
Yeah.
Yeah, that word. So what can you do differently, and how can you start branding yourself as a realtor compared to your competition?
Well, branding. If somebody's starting out from scratch,
Right.
I think people have to understand too. Branding. Again, I'm going to kind of use a comparison,
Mhm.
right? Branding is strategic, marketing is tactical.
Let's dive into that a little bit.
Okay, so branding being strategic is when you approach me about doing some branding for you.
Mm-hmm.
You're like, here's what I want to convey. Here is my target audience. Here's the kind of message I want to send. Here's what I want a symbol to mean.
Right.
And we went through and said, okay, we also know that we want this to be worn by people.
Right.
We want to be able to put this on hats and t-shirts and cups and all the things that we love to do for our clients. Obviously, when we're talking about that, that was a strategic conversation. It wasn't I'm a loan officer, here's a house. My logo is going to be a house.
Yep.
Well, yeah, that's great, that's obvious. But you wanted to have something a little bit more than that. So that talk about how we did that was very strategic. And I always tell people too, like, we have to have some kind of system or conversation in place to be able to say, okay, who do you want to reach? What are you wanting to do with this? Where is this going to live? Because if it's going to live on a business card, that's going to be a completely different conversation than if you're like, I want to fly this on one of those airplane banners and fly in the sky, right? So it's always, if people are wanting to start out, I always want them to be really, really narrowed in on what they want their voice to be when it comes to branding, because I think that is what's going to really make people want to work with you. Now, a logo is not going to necessarily move the needle for some people, but then again, that's just a small part of the whole broader spectrum of
It makes you feel like you're part of something.
Correct. Yeah.
And that's the whole goal.
Yeah. So people say too, and I always keep this, what I always want to keep in mind, people are going to hire you for your story. They're going to fire you for your performance. Okay? So if you think about that, when we get hired, people are hiring us because of the story that we're telling. Whether that be on social media, whether that be through our branding, whether that be through our marketing. They don't know if we can perform what we say we're going to perform. Right? But even if you think about somebody like Andy Blake dominates his neighborhood in Leawood Estates. People are not hiring him for his performance. While he has the stats to prove that, it's the story of what he does, that he lives in the neighborhood, that he is the top selling agent in that neighborhood. That is part of the story. Now he has to deliver, he has to perform, and if he doesn't,
that's when you fire.
People don't get care about your story at that point in time.
Right.
Most of the time.
But it gets in the door.
Yeah. So you got to start with your story. I don't want to sound too cliche about starting with your why. You had a very specific request in your logo that we wanted to convey.
Right.
So I think there's always something that you want to be proud of.
Right.
You want to have a something that you can kind of point to people and say, okay, this is me. This is what I want it to look like, and here's something I'm proud of.
That's awesome. That makes so much sense too.
Yeah.
And so with that piece, you really said there is a difference, like you said, between marketing and branding. Does branding come first? So you get your logo designed, what you want your story to be, how you want it to be told. And then after that, what's your next step? Let's say, like for instance, we have our logos, we have our business cards, we have our image, we have our slogans, we're ready to roll. Does marketing come next, and what does that next step look like? Or what was it, slow down first? What image are you portraying, or what comes next after you come up with that branding piece?
Yeah, I think for sure there has to be some kind of, I almost want it to be an explanation to your clients and people that are seeing it. It doesn't always have to be the case, but I think a lot of times people are like, new logo, they unveil their new logo. I think that's great. I want people to tell a little bit of a story behind that too, right? And you see all these logos. I can point to every single one. Every time I drive by a sign or I see a business card, I'm like, I know they bought that on Etsy. I know they did this, but I know they did that. But the people that have done their work to really brand themselves well, like West Village, like they did an awesome brand,
100%.
And they did something that they created that I know they're proud of.
Right.
They have to be. They'd be crazy not to be. But also they've created something that people want to be a part of.
100%.
So now that they've done that branding, they've created a club.
It attracts people to it.
Right. Now they can move on to the marketing piece.
Yeah.
Now I don't know that you can really start marketing. You can, but you need to have something that's going to be, people are going to attach to. So if I just get started and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna send out a postcard. I'm gonna send out a postcard to my neighborhood. It's like, I'm a real estate agent.
What is that?
Cool. Yeah. Awesome.
Throw it away.
It's gone. I don't care anymore.
Yeah.
So I definitely think I think people need to dig in a little deeper on what they want to convey. Again, it's very strategic on what you want to convey in your logo. Mine, for instance, done real estate.
Right.
Right. Like nothing fancy about it. big letters done, real estate.
Yep.
Who I am, what I do. That's what I want people to notice first.
Right.
The second part of what I wanted to be strategic about is we have a big company in our area called Dunn Construction. Right? And they have got a fairly, in my opinion, I think that they have a very recognizable brand
100%.
and that people kind of know and trust. And so part of the reason why I did what I did is to almost piggyback on that. And people stop me all the time. They're like, "Are you associated with a Dunn Construction Group?" No, I'm not. I do real estate. But it's a conversation starter. Right? Dev with Golden Homes.
It's amazing.
He loves the Golden
Retriever.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
If I wear his stuff out, people stop me and
All the
ask me
time.
about Golden Retrievers.
All the time.
It's a dog.
Yes.
It's a great dog.
It's a great dog.
You're gonna
It's
stop.
very strategic and amazing.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
And what's crazy is I met with Dev. Shout out Dev from Golden Homes. Fantastic home inspector. But I asked him, "So do you bring Golden Retrievers to inspections?" He's like, "No, I just love them." God, it got my attention.
Can you imagine if, like, at a home inspection, you just saw a golden retriever come into your house?
Major inspection,
I
way more
would
fun.
cry. I would cry.
It would be fun. It would be fun.
It would be fun, and he's awesome with his branding. It's so smart.
Yeah.
It's open. It's a conversation starter.
Right.
So when I personally think brand, I think it's like you said, it's what gets you in the door,
Mhm.
and what gets you a part of something. So then when the marketing comes, then you're providing information. You're providing more that shows that you know what you're doing for your clients, and then it comes to relationship building.
Right.
We have a whole system it's in my office right now it's a silo of branding at top, then marketing, then relationship building.
Yeah.
And it's so important. The branding is the social media, the logos, the t-shirts, everything that you see, that's the brand that we're having. Then the marketing is when we're sending out gifts, when we're doing events, when we're doing pop buys, when we're sending mailers, that shows our information. That's the marketing piece. And then our relationship building is where I like to live in building that relationship with events and building that relationship with coffees and golfing and turning around and doing all these different parties, because that's how you grow relationships and how you grow your business.
And what you're good at.
That's what I love.
Yeah.
And that's why we have Kimmy here, who's amazing at branding and marketing, and she piggybacks off of you a lot because you guys know your strengths.
Yeah.
And that's how we get in the door, and that's how, like, if you go to our social media, everything's branded pretty similar, because it builds that story that people want to be a part of.
Right.
And that's what branding is.
Right.
And it's awesome.
Yeah. If the storyline is there,
Mm-hmm.
that's what's going to draw people to you. You can have the best logo in the world. You can have the worst logo in the world.
It doesn't matter.
If you have, if you have that piece of the story, then it's going to be something that I think people are really going to adhere to.
So if you were, let's say you're an agent that you almost feel like you hit your max, you're ready to take that next step, you're on your own, not knowing what's next, what would be your advice to them of, like, where do I start? What do I do to develop myself as this brand, as a business, instead of just someone that does real estate?
Yeah, I think the problem that we run into in real estate quite often is that people feel they have to do everything in real estate. Right? You don't really know when you're kind of starting out, or when you're starting your own team. You really just want, give me everything I can possibly get. Right? I don't care where the client comes from. I don't care. Doesn't matter. Bring me everything. I think that once people really understand their strengths of who they can help, that's when things start to get really, really easy for them when it comes to marketing and advertising and branding, all that stuff. Right? So we all go through a system or a timeline of, like, oh my gosh, I've tried X, Y, Z. I'm terrible at X and Y, but Z I can really hone in on.
Yep.
I'm terrible at open houses. Took me several years to realize that. I don't do them I'll do them as part of the job to help sell a house.
Correct.
I don't do them to try and get clients, because that's not what I'm good at, right? And so if I'm spending all my time talking about marketing an open house, it's a waste of time for me.
Right.
Because it's not something that I'm good at. It's not my strength.
Right.
So I think when people start their own team, or start real estate in general, I think once you kind of learn where your wheelhouse is, I think everything needs to be geared towards that.
Right.
And that needs to become part of your story.
Yep.
So part of my story is, in most of my first few years in real estate, predominantly new home buyers. So everything that I've done has been geared towards new home buyers, because those are people that don't already know me.
Correct.
Right? Know, like, and trust me. We always talk about that when it comes to everything.
Correct.
Right? When people hire you. But when you're first getting started,
build the story.
You have to build that. So, in my opinion, it's certainly something that you have to do to really hone in on who you want to reach.
Right.
Because if you want to reach retired, people that are retired over the age of 80,
then you're not going to be posting on social media every day.
right? And your branding better be big and easy to read, right?
So true.
Yeah. But if you're targeting a audience on social media or TikTok or something of that nature, you need something kind of flashy and cool that's going to potentially catch their attention.
Or less.
Yeah.
Right.
So,
Right. That's such a good point. A joke that I have with people in the office is, I'm really good at 1 or 2 things, and I'm awful at 98 things.
yeah.
But those 1 or 2 things, I'm very, very good at.
Right.
And that's where I'm going to spend my time.
Right.
And then you're going to hire around you once you start growing. For instance, shout out Kimmy. I know what I was bad at, and I knew what I was falling off on, so you hire someone that has that strength. That's better. And I heard this advice from someone when I was first getting started and wondering if I should take that next step in hiring, is if someone can do something a 7 out of 10 on your scale, and you think you can do a 10 out of 10, it's worth hiring. Because that extra 30%, you can pour it into something else and teach them that to get up to an 8 or 9, and you're rolling.
Right.
And so it's taking that next step of figuring out what you're good at, deviating yourself into what you need to do, and then going with it.
Yeah.
So that's awesome. Now that let's say you grew this brand, you're marketing now, you're very, very good at events, building relationships, having that small circle that believes in your brand. What are 1 or 2 actionable steps there that you're doing for relationship building, brand, after you got the clients through your branding? What's next there?
Yeah, it is definitely building that, continuing to build the trust. And when you really lean in on that small group of people that is the bulk of your referrals, or the bulk of what makes you happy, or the bulk of what you want to be doing in your business, at that point in time, very, very little matters after that. So a lot of what we do is going to be geared towards those people.
Right.
Because those are people that I want to reach.
Mm-hmm.
If I like those people, if I get along with those people, they're going to refer me people that are like-minded, like-hearted, and typically the specifically in real estate, that's usually where the deals are going to go a little bit easier and smoother.
Right.
It's the people that I don't know, that I have no relationship with, that there's just a lot of contention. Now we can deal with it. That's what we're trained to do, but
And it's more fun for you.
not nearly as fun. Yeah. So I definitely think you can't reach everybody. You're not going to reach everybody. And I think people, once they can really understand that and be okay with that, that would be the first actionable step is who's your A+ clients, right? Who's your Brian Buffini A+ clients that you are going to love on and do whatever you're going to do marketing wise, you're going to gear towards them.
What are some examples of marketing wise that you've done?
Most of the marketing stuff that I do tends to be around booze, right? I mean, I do Oktoberfest parties, I do beer tastings, I do whiskey clubs.
It's fantastic. You're opening up your doors.
Correct.
It's at your house.
Right.
Your guard's down.
Yep.
I've been to probably every single one of them.
Yeah.
And it is awesome because you're like, this is the real me.
Right.
These
That's
are
where
my
we're comfortable.
these are my dogs. I like to sip on whiskey.
Yeah.
I like to play wacky board games. I'm a Lord of the Rings fanatic.
Right.
And guess what? This is me.
Yep.
And it works. And every one of those people there are so fun to hang out with.
Mm-hmm.
Makes so much sense.
Yeah. But that, and that's not necessarily part of my brand, right? I'm not like the Lord of the Rings realtor or the whiskey realtor, right? But it is part of the message that I send of this is what I'm interested in. This is where I'm comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
And when you do open those doors and bring people in, obviously you're going to be your best self. You're going to look your best self. You're going to feel your best self. It is always going to be a better representation of you when you're comfortable.
Right.
If you put me in a room full of 80 kids, I'm going to collapse and cry.
Right.
And I know that. So not a lot of my events are going to be geared towards that.
Yeah.
Right.
Now we do a ton of like movie events and zoo days and stuff like that are a ton of fun, which we can do. But
That's not your A+.
It's not necessarily where I feel most comfortable.
Right.
So anytime I do something outside of our team, it's going to be more in the wheelhouse of that.
Right. And I think that's with real estate, mortgage, anyone in a service role even can learn and piggyback off of exactly what you just said, of going from branding to marketing to relationship building, of being your authentic self. And the branding gets you in the door.
Mm-hmm.
And that's exactly what it is. I just got a mailer from you in the mail last week.
Yeah.
Super cool. Everyone does Chiefs magnets, right? Every realtor, I probably got 8 of them. What was unique about yours and what stood out was it wasn't just here's a calendar, thank you so much.
Mm-hmm.
It was a big note that was awesome branding on it. You knew exactly who it was from. It has a picture of Chief on it. Shout out Puppy. It has a picture of Sarah on it. Shout out Sarah. And it also had one unique step, and that was to send it to a friend with a post stamp with a stamp on it, so it was free and easy to do. That got your name out to more people.
Mm-hmm.
I had 8 realtors send me literally 8 different magnets, and that was the one that stood out because that was unique out of all 8.
Right.
Simple.
I'm
but so
offended
unique.
I didn't get one in the mail.
Oh, I deliver yours personally.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Okay, thank you.
You're my A plus. Tanner's my
I
D
was
minus.
I was
Yes.
the C client. You're the A plus client.
Yes.
Tanner didn't use me to buy his house, so he doesn't get. He just gets
Yeah,
stuff
he's
mailed to him.
bottom of the barrel.
Exactly. I'm bottom tier. So no,
But-
it's
Yeah, and I think what I want to be clear about with that is that is all very tactical, right? When we talk about marketing, very tactical, because that's everything that I do. I want it to be, number 1, unique. Number 2, have a ton of shareability. Right? Because my goal is not only just to reach you,
right.
you being a client or a customer or friend, whatever that is, but
friends.
But your friends, right?
It's most of your clients.
Right, because that is always the conversation of, I want to help you, I want to help your friends too. I need to remind you of that, but I'm going to give you something that you'd actually be. I don't think people are proud to share it. I offer an incentive. I'm giving away Chiefs tickets,
right.
so that I'm an incentive to send it out. But also, it's not this generic one that you get on some silly forprint.com.
Right.
When people see it, I think they're more likely to post it or to put it on the refrigerator because there's a picture of me and Sarah on it. Because there's a picture of
She's way prettier.
of Chief. Oh, totally.
Oh, for sure.
Again, that's tactical. That's marketing. I know what people want to see. They don't want to see me. The years before, I dressed up in a Mahomes jersey,
Saw that.
in a wig, and had face paint on, and I think that it's silly, but it's not just me with my suit on and a headshot, because that's not me.
But it's also like people see, like, you took the time to do that, like to create that flyer. You didn't, like you said, just downloaded it and printed it off and sent it. Like, you took the time to create that. So
Yeah.
people will see that effort.
Sure. Yeah. And again, too, like there's those people, the Chiefs fans, like that's my audience.
Right.
Those are my people.
Right.
And so it all felt natural.
Yeah, you're not selling at that point.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. That's something that we talked about too. Kimmy, who's over here, is my marketing social media girl, and she's a guru on it. And when we meet for our content calendar, she's the boss. But one question we always ask is this shareable? Because even when it's come to social media and social media branding, which we can hit on in another episode and how you do that, because that's a completely different ballgame. But it all goes hand in hand. One of our big contents is this shareable? Because if it's not, then is it worth sharing, worth posting?
Right.
But if it's shareable, then your brand is growing, and that's huge when it comes to social media marketing.
Mm-hmm.
So, all right, I got to ask real quickly before we end, because you just launched it, Forta.
Yes.
I want you to dive in it a little bit.
Forta, yeah. Forta Creative Marketing.
What does Forta stand for?
Forta stands for from one realtor to another.
Okay.
So, I think there's a lot of people out there. Real estate marketing, real estate coaching is nothing new.
Right.
And it's not anything groundbreaking.
Right.
For sure. But I am a realtor in the weeds. I'm a realtor that's struggling like everybody else does every year after year to hone in on this kind of stuff. But I have a very special skill set that became very clear to me, not to sound braggadocious, that's not at all what it is, but people kept calling me and saying, I need ideas, I need help.
I'll plead the fifth.
Right. And
I mean,
so,
it's everyone in Kansas City. Your stuff is A+++ work, and
Yeah,
that's what you're known for.
Thank you, and I appreciate that. And I think that's when a light bulb went off of, you know, I love real estate. I really, really miss being creative. And so it felt like an easy transition for me to just be like, okay, I'm gonna just put these things head on. I'm gonna take what I'm good at. It goes back to our original conversation. What are you good at, right? How do you? I guess we talked about that off the air, but you know, how do you utilize your talents? And then I feel like there's a huge need in real estate. Real estate marketing and branding is so stale and boring. And as things start to tighten, as deals become fewer and far between, I feel like people really need to have better ideas and attainable ideas. And I think what bothers me, and I've paid thousands of dollars for I've been victim to the marketing.
I have too.
Right, where you buy these things and it ends up being lead buys or, you know, Facebook ads or something silly.
Transactional.
But the issue becomes is that if you're doing that, everybody else is doing that too. So I'm not asking people to do anything different. I'm simply just giving ideas and hopefully sparking creativity to where you can take that idea. Hey, I'm missing out a Chiefs magnet. Awesome, you should do that. That's bare minimum. How do we take that a step further? So everything about what I'm doing and everything that I'm sharing and providing is how to take it a step further. What you're already doing.
That's so money.
So it's not a huge investment.
And it's so worthwhile because everyone hears the same old things. You need to be doing video. You need to be doing social media. You need to be sending out magnets because they're easy. You need to be doing pop-bys in one event per year or something like that. They're all kind of similar.
Right.
Nobody knows what that next step is.
Right.
And I was talking to a guy today and he's like, 95% of people probably won't take information that we give to them and run with it, but the 5% that do are going to be millionaires.
Yeah.
Legit millionaires. And that is what you are offering is how to get from this part to this part. And it's the extra step. And I can't wait to see what it grows from this and from what you do because your information is A+. It is.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Very much so.
I think it'll be exciting. I mean, there is a lot of things that I feel like I want to share, and I hope my business was built off of, you know, I had an instructor way back in my design days who said, if you're going to steal from the best, and that's what I've always done. Right? I have taken what I've learned from somebody else and I've molded it and now I don't copy things, but I take an idea, I take something that somebody else has done, and I go and I do conferences, I do research, I'm watching YouTube video, I'm doing everything. I'm basically trying to be like, let me be that middleman. I'll take in all the information and then I'll share with you what the takeaways are, right?
Good.
And then you can literally steal my stuff.
Right.
You know, because I'm going to take it from there. I'm going to adapt it to what I think is going to be applicable to real estate and to me.
That's good.
Now you take it and you
just
do
the work.
what you need to do, right? But it's not something where you have to invest a ton of time and energy because you are already doing half of it.
Right.
It's just how do you take that marketing one step further in order to get more referrals, more trust, those kinds of things.
That's
More eyes on their
fantastic.
stuff, yeah.
So if we want to follow it, go along, what do we do there?
So everything's on my Instagram right now. All my Instagram is, I'm not doing multiple Instagrams. I can't do it.
No.
So everything's just on my personal Done Real Estate
Perfect.
Instagram. Florida is going to be strictly on YouTube,
Okay.
which people can search for that on YouTube. And then I'm also, part of that is going to be an actual Patreon membership that people can do if they want, which is they can actually take everything that I do, I'll design in Canva,
Yep.
and then give everybody that's a part of my Patreon memberships, they get the Canva link so they can just literally just plug in their information and use what's already been designed.
It's worth every single penny.
Yeah, and then I'll do a
Wow.
little bit more behind the scenes stuff for people that are part of the Patreon. Like they kind of get little snippets of what I'm working on and all that stuff. So just a little bit more of an incentive for people if they want to make it even easier. But the bulk of it's going to be on YouTube. Just you can see at any point.
Cannot wait to follow along.
Yeah, thank you.
At Done Real Estate.
Appreciate that. Done Real Estate. Yep.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
And if you click subscribe, pay for membership, you can get 20% off your first month with Kimmy20.
Kimmy 20.
Yeah.
I love
I'm
it.
just kidding. That could be a good
We'll do it.
tactic.
You've always wanted to say that.
I've always wanted to say that.
I don't know if I can,
Yeah.
but I'll
Kimmy
look into
20
it.
will
Kimmy
get
20.
you your first month for free on Tanner.
Okay, we'll look into that.
Just kidding.
I love Kimmy. See, she's
Don't-
marketing.
Don't
Marketing.
actually do that because it probably won't work.
Marketing.
But we'll see.
Good job.
Yeah.
All right, well, we're excited for it, man.
Thank you. I appreciate it, guys.
You're an expert in branding. This episode's fun just because we're going to need more on this stuff because it's so important. And we're going to, obviously, this is for consumers, this is for real estate agents, this is for everyone. Anyone in this small business world needs to learn about this.
Right.
And so I'm excited to pick your brain more in these upcoming episodes too on what this branding looks like.
Yeah.
And marketing and what if it's paper marketing or social media marketing or all of it cohesively in branding, what that looks like. And we're going to dive into that.
No, I love that. And I think too, and I don't know who our listener breakdown, but
Right.
but legitimately, I think it appears to me that there's a lot of realtors that listen to this.
100%.
So I'm an open book too. Like if anybody wants to ask questions, if anybody has anything they want to throw off me, I took a phone call today from a friend in North Carolina about a party she wanted to throw, and she wanted some extra help with the invitations. I don't design them, I don't do that kind of stuff, but like we talked through some ideas and some things that could really enhance her personality, enhance the shareability. We came up with an awesome idea for a wine party that she's going to do.
Fantastic.
And so I'm always an open book for that kind of stuff too. So
Amazing.
community over competition. I'm going to say it
Community
over and
over
over again.
competition. That's it. I love when you said that in there. I used that line today with someone. So,
Yeah?
Literally the exact line. So I heard this today from someone I love. It is community over competition.
Right.
And real estate's so big that you have to have that, or you feel like you're on an island and you don't grow because you're struck with fear and you're stuck in your own head compared to growing together.
Right.
And that's what you're going to break the mold for. So, well, keep listening. Realtors, tune in. Kimmy 20 is going to be on Patreon, but literally follow Jared's stuff. Follow Jared at Done Real Estate because it's going to help you grow. If you want to grow, if you want to know how to brand, and it's a perfect time ending this year. It's already September somehow, going into the rest of the year. It's going to be perfect. So,
Well, before we go, we have to talk about our drinks. Because we picked up the Yuengling Oktoberfest today.
what do you feel?
Well, Yuengling has been obviously
It blew up
burst on the scene here
ever
not too
since
long
they
ago.
allowed it to go.
It became like
West-
the number one beer. That's
Is
what
it-
Tyler told me.
They allowed.
Oh, really? Mr.
Yeah.
Kimmy told you that?
Yeah.
Because let them go
Mr.
west of the Mississippi for the first time.
Yeah, but that was just this year, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, I love eating. I love flights.
The flights are really good.
Yeah. And,
It's good.
you know, I'm going to be 100% honest. I really like this beer. I couldn't tell you difference in Oktoberfest because I don't drink enough Oktoberfest to know if there's a huge difference in them. They all kind of taste the same to me. But this is a good one in my opinion.
Well, you can come to my Oktoberfest tasting party. We blind taste test Oktoberfest beers, which is fun because
It's fun.
you kind of drink them independently,
Right?
over just a 4 or 5 week period of
Yeah.
the year, and it's pretty interesting.
Will there be pumpkin spice lattes?
Well, no,
That would be weird.
I like pumpkin spice lattes.
you might get one pumpkin beer from in there, but no, it's typically Oktoberfest. But it's really cool because a lot of the companies put out some kind of fall Oktoberfest beer.
I've had Sam Adams too. That's a good one.
Yeah. Lucas, Lucas actually got either bought
They're
out or
gone.
sold to Total
Total
Wine.
wine.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if they're going to change anything, but their Oktoberfest
Section is huge.
section is unbelievable.
Good to know.
So, yeah.
Okay. What's your opinion on beer?
It's pretty good. Not the best Oktoberfest I've had.
You're an Oktoberfest fool though.
Well, I like to have it. I want it to have like an Oktoberfest bite. Like
Yeah.
I want to really taste the festiness
The
of
fall?
it. Yeah.
You want to see leaves
You
changing
really
in your
wanna
mouth.
Exactly.
Tastes like ground and the leaves.
Yeah. Ground up some leaves and put it in it. But this one's good. Yuengling. I have not had a bad beer from
Me
Yuengling.
either.
But I would, if I'm going to drink an Oktoberfest beer, I'm probably going for something that's a little bit more.
October.
Yeah. But this is a good easy drinker.
Easy.
Especially when it's still 90 degrees out.
Yeah.
It's good.
It's good. All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for tuning in. We'll be diving into Jared more as he helps people grow for the rest of the year and into next year. So thank you for joining us. Shout out Kimmy. Shout out Jared.
Shout out Kimmy.
Woo!
Bye, guys.
Bye.